Hello and welcome back to Every Mile. Today we are here at Fremont Peak State Park. We're going to tell a little bit of the history. We're going to show some of the trails, tell a few stories. We love this park, although it has been a while since we've been here. Come with us on this adventure. So the story of Fremont Peak, what makes Fremont Peak such a cool place to come visit? It is the first place in California that the American flag was flown. John C. Fremont was here getting ready to take battle with Castro down below in San Juan Bautista. So there is a historic marker here for John C. Fremont because he built a fort up here after being told to leave the area. He said, no, I'm gonna stay here and fight. So they hiked up to the top of what was then Gavilan Peak, now Fremont Peak, and they built a fort out of logs and all that different stuff and prepared for battle.
Wait, look at you could go down that hill.
So he got a sapling, they set up the flagpole, and they had the American flag flying up by their fort. On March 9th, 1846 or something like that, the flagpole fell over in the afternoon. Fremont, he saw that as a bad sign. He saw that as a bad omen. And so after seeing the flag fall over, he took his men and retreated. So it avoided the conflict that day, but it's still a cool spot to come visit. You can see out in the distance, Moss Landing. Such a clear day today. You can see out to Santa Cruz. The ocean. One of my favorite books of all time is John Steinbeck's book, Travels with Charlie. And part of that book, one of the things that he does is he comes here to Fremont Peak and he sits up top. He grew up in Salinas, and when you get to the top of Fremont Peak, you're able to look down over the Salinas Valley and see the city. And he was able to sit up there with Charlie and kind of tell him, that's where my mom killed the bobcat, and that's where my dad carved his name into the tree, and that's where, and it's really just a cool spot for him to sit and reminisce about his life. And it's fun being here because now when I read the book, I can picture exactly what he's talking about. So the hike itself is fairly easy. It does get steep at points and it is kind of rocky. But I'm out of breath. I'm saying it's easy. Yeah, right. Now from this plateau, you can see Fremont Peak up behind me. From this plateau, oh, it's windy. So right down here behind me, up here is San Juan Bautista, the small town of San Juan Bautista. It does get really windy up on the peak, so I'm not going to talk very much, but we're almost there. So we were just up at the top of Fremont Peak. Beautiful clear day today. You could see all the way to Santa Cruz, to Monterey. Straight ahead we saw Moss Landing. Absolute beautiful views up on that rocky terrain. So the path is easy, as you can see. We're walking it no problem. It does get rocky up at the top, so it does get a little more difficult to hike up there. There is kind of a plateau right there that we recommend stopping at if you don't want to do the rocky part. But for the most part, the trail is pretty nice and smooth. We have done this trail a few times, multiple times. There are other trails that this park offers that we really need to learn more about. Just a quick shot of the parking lot. There is a good sized parking lot here. Today we're the only ones here, but there is, if you go down this road, there's another parking lot down there where they have the self-paid parking. We again use the California Poppy Pass, so it is included in this park. You're able to park at all the state parks for included in the price of the parking pass. So we got that earlier this year. We've used it countless times. It's more than paid for itself, if not double. So we do recommend getting the California Poppy Pass, but parking lot's beautiful. It's very clear. There are bathrooms kind of down the way back there. So it is normal, it's good. The Valley View Trail. So this hike, the Valley View Trail hike, is new to us. We're gonna check it out today. I've heard that there's a ton of trails through this park, and we've only done the Peak Trail just because for me, I always think historic and da-da-da. So today we're gonna try a couple of the other ones. One thing we do always recommend is take a picture of the map or screenshot the map. especially if you're doing trails you don't recognize. Then you always have it on hand. We don't really have any service out here. And so having a copy of the map on the phone, we're able to just look up where we're at and make sure we're going the right way. So here's our valley view. You can look in the back right here, you can see the ocean. You can see Moss Landing. You can see all that area. How beautiful is that? My goodness. All right, this trail, the Valley View Trail, is very different than the Fremont Peak Trail. It's very narrow, but it's still beautiful views of the valley. It's still beautiful views, but very narrow. All right, so far, we've been kind of reviewing this hike in our head as we've been hiking. This is our first time doing it, so we're kind of critical right now of the hike itself. It is a very steep hike. We've been going downhill, which is why I'm not out of breath, but we've been going downhill and it's very steep. It's not as well maintained as the Fremont Peak hike. And like I said, the trail is a lot more narrow. So it is a little more difficult than the Fremont Peak hike, but I assume the Fremont Peak hike is probably the more popular of the hikes in the area. So you can always tell when we're getting close to the end because we start talking about what we want to eat. What do we want to eat?
Sandwiches.
Sandwiches. And that is our day at Fremont Peak State Park. We got the peak right here. Boom. Thank you for coming with us on this adventure. We'll catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye, guys.